Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Love Experience Show. I am your host, Ashley J. I am a relationship and dating coach. I am a wife and a mother, and I am so excited for you guys to be here with me today. Um, Before we get started, don't forget to head over to itsashleyj.com. The link is in the description and pick up your Love Experience Show gear. You want to go get your Love Experience Show gear, guys. You need to have it. Okay. Show your support to the show. And let's make this a movement. And you guys invite 5 people to listen and watch. And I said listen because I am also live on Clubhouse right now. So get 5 people, share this episode with 5 people, get them to join you and watch the show. Do not forget to like this episode and subscribe to the channel. Okay, I need you to do all of that. Please do that. Okay. So, once again, welcome to the Love Experience Show. I am not absolutely positive where my guests are, but we will start. Okay. So how did you guys enjoy last week's episode? Wasn't it awesome? I had a really great time last week. And if you didn't catch last week's episode, feel free to head over to the Love Experience Show channel and watch the episode from last week. Okay, here's my guess. Hello, Pastors Darlene and Pastor Kevin. I can't see you, Pastor Kevin.
Let's see it. We're trying to adjust this.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my camera. That's the issue I'm having, is getting the right camera to show up. Let me try it again. Let me see.
Okay. So while you guys are doing that, I'm going to continue to talk to the audience. So thank you so much for watching. As you can see, our guests have shown up, guys. And that is Pastors Darlene and Kevin Thorne. I'm excited to talk to them because, as you can see, we are talking about the love, commitment, and marriage. And this is going to be a great topic. So I hope you guys are ready. Okay. Hello. Are you guys ready?
We're going to go with what we have because as long as it's clear, can you see us well?
Yes, I can see you guys.
Good.
Welcome to the Love Experience Show.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Pastor Kevin?
Fine, I'm wonderful.
Awesome. So we could just go ahead and jump on in. So if you guys don't mind, what is your love experience?
Okay, Kevin, you want to talk about what our love experience is?
Well, we've been in love for, my goodness, how many years?
A long time.
A long time.
Over how many years? Over 30?
30 years.
Yeah, over 30 years. Yeah, we've been married for 37 years. It'll be 37 years in October. Mm-hmm. But we met over music.
Okay. How did that happen?
When we were going to the same church, and I came to his church. I came to Massachusetts to go to college, and he was in Spain. Mm-hmm. And you had just come back from Spain a little while ago, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so he comes in church, and I was asked to sing a solo. And I sang my solo. And after it was all over, just before I'm getting in the car with my girlfriends going back to campus, he pulls me over and he hands me a piece of paper with his phone number on it. And he says, listen, the next time you have to sing, you can call somebody because you didn't have to sing a cappella. I can play for you. And he gave me his number and told me to give him a call the next time I had to sing.
Okay.
Well, I got teased all the way back to campus. They teased me all the way back to campus and said, this guy, he's hitting on you. I'm like, he just gave me his phone number to call him if I got to sing again. That's it. but God had another plan.
So, how did playing music or being your accompanist, what instrument did you play, Pastor Kevin?
Well, what I play?
What did you play? Key.
Keyboards,
Mm-hmm.
piano.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did being her accompanied pianist turn into love?
How'd that turn into love?
You know what? It's been so long. I can't even remember exactly what happened. But I used to play. I used to. Excuse me. I used to play a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and she would sing with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because we were worshiping God,
Mhm.
we just enjoyed the music. We enjoyed the company, and we enjoyed the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you praise God, something happens
Yeah.
when you worship Him.
Mhm.
I worship God. I get lost in the music,
That's true.
Really?
Very true. Very true.
and by us getting lost in the music, I think we just fell in love with one another because of our love for God.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that.
I mean, that you don't hear that too often. So, how is that different than how other people fall in love?
I don't know how other people fall in love, but when I fall in love, I I I I get into who the object of my love is.
Mm.
So in this case, I was loving God,
Mhm.
not necessarily a person.
Right.
Mhm.
And then God gave you me.
And then God gave me her, and that just added to the experience.
Mhm.
Well, all right.
Yeah, well, one of the things I will say, he gave me a book for, I'm not sure whether it was a birthday gift or he just gave me this book, but it was a book called The Intercessor. And this, on the inside of the book, he wrote that he wanted to always be jealous of my relationship with God.
Mm.
He says because he wanted he said he always wants to be jealous of my relationship with God, that I would love God more than I would love him. Because if
Mhm.
I loved God more than I loved him, I would automatically love him the way I'm supposed to love him because of my unconditional love for God. And that's what he wanted to be jealous of. He always wanted to be jealous of the love I have for God. And I believe that in life, if marriage was built on that, where we loved God more than we loved our spouses, and we're obedient to God in doing what he tells us to do, we're going to
Mhm.
take it's almost an automatic that we're going to love our spouse the way we're supposed to. And that
Wow.
spouse is going to be jealous of our love for God because we love God so much that we're going to live it out in a way that people are going to be looking like, what in the world? These two people are competing with each other. Who can love each other more?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when I read that, that he wants to be jealous of my love for God. I was like, oh my goodness. I'd never read anything like that before.
Yeah.
And that really changed me because it kept me like, wow, let me stay on my face before God so then I can really take care of him.
So, did it come easy?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Now, I'll tell you the reason that it didn't come easy because our relationship with God is not a simple one.
Yeah.
Because when God tells us that he wants us to do something that's outside of our comfort zone, when God tells us that he wants us to do something that stretches us, that's a difficult thing because we don't always say yes.
Right.
We're not, it's not an automatic yes. I'm trying to find some people that say, I say yes to God every time. I never give him any problems. I don't, I haven't found them yet.
Me either.
You know somebody like that?
No. No, not by a long shot.
Yeah. So I haven't met anybody like that yet. But what I do know is that it's worth the yes to say to God.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows me more and more how to love him.
Mm.
Now I don't know. You can you sit back, babe?
Mhm.
Now I don't know if y'all know this, but on this show, just want to share a little bit. This hunk of man right here that's sitting next to me is a hemorrhagic stroke survivor. So
Okay.
back in 2019, November of 2019, he suffered a hemorrhagic stroke, which had him in the hospital from November until May. We went to a couple of different hospitals
Wow.
as he was going through his recovery and rehabilitation. We're still walking that road, aren't we?
Mhm.
Yeah. But God is faithful. So
Mhm.
sometimes he forgets certain things, but there's some other things that he remembers real well. We happened to be in New York this past week, and
Mhm.
we ran into some Spanish speaking friends. And prior to this stroke, he had been, like I was telling you, he'd been overseas. He'd been in
Mhm.
Spain doing missions work and everything, and he was speaking Spanish then. But prior to that, the stroke, he had kind of lost some of his, he says, I don't speak it as much as I used to. But man, post stroke, this guy speaks more Spanish and he is more fluent than a little bit. And it's amazing. The people that he was talking to, the minute he found out they spoke Spanish, oh, they were gone, having their own.
Really?
And yes, and this is post stroke. So there's some
Wow.
things that have happened that have just been amazing uh, throughout this process. So when we talk about love, um, this is a whole new journey that we're walking. When he
Yeah.
came from the hospital in May of 2020, we had to start all over again. I have to know him in a new way. You know, he's a different person than he was before.
Mhm.
But man, I loved the first one. And I love the second one even more.
Wow.
Okay with you?
Yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you.
So that's like that's different roles for both of you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in your love walk. That's complete different roles because now you have taken on the role of not just wife but caretaker on a different level
Yeah.
because we are caretakers as wives, but on a different level now.
Mm-hmm.
And Pastor Kevin, you took on the role of the one that needed care.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that this kind of slowed your life down a little bit.
Yeah. How did it slow you down a little bit?
Well, I don't know if it slowed me down. I just needed help, and she helped. She was here to help me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Every time I needed help, I could just look to her and say, "Babe, I need some assistance here, or I need some help here," and she offer that to me. She was always there to be available.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting road we're walking now because he was the guy that always like he would do the bills and say, okay, look at this. Is there anything missing? Because he is the numbers man.
Mm-hmm.
Now that role is kind of switched,
Mm-hmm.
where now I'm responsible to make sure that all the bills are being taken care of. But I will say this, because of my husband's forethought, because of his love for numbers and his preparation, even during this process, I'm not worried. I'm not trying to figure out, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? How are we going to live from day to day? That's not an issue
Mm-hmm.
because of what he did ahead of time. And this is where I see that God's hand is in all of this.
Yeah.
Because had he not had the forethought, had he not, been the kind of guy that God created him to be, maybe we'd be singing a different song. We
Okay.
might be saying something different. But because he was prepared and and this is the thing, I want to say some months, because I don't remember exactly how long a period of time, but some months before he even had the stroke. You can sit up, babe. Yeah, so we can see your handsome face. Before he had the stroke, he had given me a list of all of his the passwords and such to all of the accounts that we had, because he set them all up. And once he set them up, he gave all that information to me. He said, here, you're going to need this just in case something happens. I had no clue that this would happen.
Wow.
But God knew.
Yeah.
And because God knew already, all I had to do was go there. And there they all the passwords to everything that I needed. It was right there.
Mm.
And I didn't skip a beat. The things that we needed to do while he was in the hospital. And then coming home. After coming home, it was like, okay, what do we do now? How do we now live?
Yeah.
How do we express, love and care for each other? I feel like this guy right here. We went to a conference last weekend, and the presence of God was just so thick and so heavy. And I remember one time one of the ministers had prayed for me, and as he had prayed for me, my husband was sitting. I know where he was. Where when I got up, he was sitting someplace. But by the time the person prayed for me, I hear in the back of my ear, "You okay, babe?" Because I don't know how he got to where he. But you were right there behind me. You were right there behind me. And you worshiped, and God really ministered to you over that weekend, didn't he?
Yeah. Worship is very important.
It is.
We all need to worship, and we need to experience God in every way that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. In every way that we can experience the worship of God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Pastor Kevin, has your experience with God been different since you had the stroke? Is your mind more open to different experiences with experiencing God?
I don't think it's the stroke. I think it's really just been it's life is just living life.
Mm-hmm.
It's having the experiences of being with different people and doing different things. I mean, I've lived in Spain. I've did lots of things,
Mm-hmm.
and in all those places, I experienced, God's presence.
Okay.
And I mean, I've listened, I played with people at different things, and it's really being in the experience of being with people and doing what I do, that I sense and sense God's presence.
Mm. Okay.
Do you think that your experience in worship now has become stronger and deeper?
Yes, it's just because I can relate. Obviously, I have a better knowledge of who God is now to me.
Mm.
Wow.
To me, I mean, I can't talk about anybody else,
Mhm.
but it, walking with God is an intimate thing.
It is.
It's intimate, meaning I, I don't know him the way you know him.
Right.
You don't know him the way I know him. But we all come to an experience where we get to know him in a special, intimate, close way that's beyond sex.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm married. I love sex, but I love God
Mhm.
even more. And
Wow.
that's saying something right there.
That is.
It is. It is.
Because as much as I love my wife, I don't know what I would do without God.
Wow. Now that's it. Mic drop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mic drop exactly, because he's my life.
Mhm.
He's the air I breathe. I'm getting
Mhm.
excited thinking about it.
Mhm.
He's the life I breathe. Amen. Amen. I'll say it right there.
He's the sustainer of your life too.
I mean, I've been through so many things. I've traveled. I've been in Europe. I've done a bunch of things,
Mhm.
and he's kept me.
Yeah.
And to have that kind of a relationship with him all of these years, and to know that God, you've been with me all this time. To all the people I've met, all the things I've done, you've kept me, you protected me, you've shown me things that I am so grateful. And I start thinking about it now, I get teared up. I'm so grateful for what God's
Yeah.
done in my life.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that's happened. I think once you turn 50, he turned 50, and all of a sudden, I'd never experienced a person that had become so sensitive to the Spirit of God. That,
Really.
yes, as a worship leader, what's that thing? As a worship leader, um, it seemed like once he turned 50, and now he's going to be 62 this year,
Okay.
be 62, and I'm turning 60 on Sunday. Yay!
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. I remember that when he would lead worship, he would always say to the congregation, do you remember what you would say to the congregation? We're going.
We're going to some place.
Yeah. He would always tell them that. He said, this is a journey into the Holy of Holies. This is a journey into the presence of God.
Mhm.
I remember that there would be times that he would begin to speak, and that tears would just flow. And it's become more and more and more. It's just this, when he senses God's presence, it is overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I believe because of the fact that when he was in the hospital, some of the doctors, they're literally the ones that practice medicine, and they were looking by the books, and according to the books, there was little to no chance of survival, little to no chance of him getting any of his faculties to return, any of that.
Mhm.
And those were the doctors I ignored.
Right. Right.
Those are the doctors I'm like, nah, we're not going to talk to you. We're not going to have too much of a conversation with you. But the presence of God was just so. We had I had an iPad, and the iPad played worship music 24/7. I kept it plugged in, so that's all he could hear.
Mhm.
And that's all we surrounded the space with was the presence of God, because we know that God's presence makes the difference. And we also know that him as a worshiper, that's where he stayed. He stayed
That's
in
how
that.
he would respond.
That was his response. And I forgot the way I was going with that, but so I'll just leave it right there.
Okay. So when the doctors would come and talk to you, kind of updating you on what they're doing or what they're trying to figure out, would you step outside of the room and talk to them, or would you allow them to talk inside the room?
Well, what happened was the doctors would do their rounds. So they
Mhm.
would usually be there. And where we were at the time, we were in neural ICU. And in those rooms, they didn't have doors, they just had a curtain that
Okay.
separated. So they would stand outside the curtain. And I would always record whatever the doctors were saying. And once or twice, some of the doctors would come in because they wanted to have further discussion on where they were and what they were doing. And one doctor in particular, and the Lord, he really reprimanded me on that. There was one doctor in particular that, as he began to talk, he said something that made me know he is not believing that there is recovery on the way.
Okay.
And as he was talking, he said three words. When he said quality of life, I didn't want to have any more discussion with him, you know. And I remember from my classes that when you're finished with the discussion, you stand. We were sitting. He said that, and I stood up. And
Mhm.
and he says, "Did you understand what I said?" I said, "I heard what you said. Do you have any questions?" "No, I do not." "Okay, thank you, Mrs. Thorne." And he walked out. And immediately when he walked out, I ran to my husband and I whispered in his ear, I said, "Don't you listen to what that doctor said.
Mm.
Don't pay attention to what that doctor said. He does not know our God."
Mm.
And I was very careful, to your point, as to what doctors came in. After that, I was real careful.
Mhm.
I was also very careful about what people came to
Yeah,
visit. There were some people that, nah, love you, but no.
you can wait.
You can wait. You can wait. You can wait. Unless you came in there with faith, unless you came in there believing despite what you saw. Because
Yeah.
see, this is the thing. My One of my good girlfriends, she said to me, "Darlene, when I would ask you, well, how is Kevin doing?" I said, "He is doing so much better today." And I would, describe certain things that were happening. But when you would look at him, sit up, babe. When you would look at him, oh, let me get you. He's he's here tearing up. Let me get you a tissue. Let me go to get you a tissue. I'm going to get you a tissue, okay?
Right.
Give me a second.
Pastor Kevin, do you remember any of this time?
Some of the stuff I don't remember at all.
Yeah,
Okay.
some of the things he doesn't remember. But one of my friends, she came in the hospital, and Kevin had a tube, a small thin tube that was at the top of his head, and it went into this bag that collected the fluid, because when you have a brain bleed, there was a blood vessel that burst,
Mhm.
and your brain is in a liquid sac.
Mhm.
So the liquid sac is supposed to be there, but the blood's
Mhm.
not supposed to be there.
Mhm.
So when the blood vessel burst, they had to get all the fluid and all of that out. And so he's laying in the bed while this is happening. And my good girlfriend, when I told her what was going on, I said, he's doing better, and this is happening, that's happening. And I'm telling her all the things that were going on. And she's looking at him and she said, well, thank God that God is faithful and he's able to do it. And she told me after he came home, and I'm so glad she told me after. She said, I was looking in that bed and I wasn't seeing nobody do anything. I didn't see anything moving. I didn't see anything. But what I did see and what I heard was your faith.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I came in agreement with your faith, despite what I saw.
Mm.
And that was such a blessing to me because she recognized that it's really not about what you see. Faith is not what you see. Because the scripture truly says faith is the substance of things hoped
Hope
for.
for evidence not seen.
That's
Yeah.
right. The evidence of things that are not seen. Because you couldn't see, let me tell you, even when the doctors would come in, they would come in and they would say, Mr. Thorne, would you please, can you move your foot? Can you move your fingers? And I really think, now that I think back to it, I just think you were playing around with them because when they were not in the room, he would move his fingers, he would move his toes, he would move his knee, and he would move around. And I would tell them, I said, he moves. And they're like, yeah. And they thought I was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
For cell phones and videos.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they came to the room the next time and they would try to get him to move, and then they would use this instrument to to try and get to get him to move. And sometimes of course you would move because it does cause you to do that. But I remember showing them videos of him moving on his own. I'd say, see, I'm not kidding when I say he moves.
Right.
And then
Well,
all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay. So if he doesn't move on command, it doesn't mean that he doesn't move.
you can't move.
He just doesn't
Yeah.
move on command. See, what they don't know is this is an only child who is very self-sufficient, and he doesn't always walk to the beat of everybody's drum.
Do what I want. I do what I want to do when I want to do it.
There you go.
All right.
So if he didn't want to move when they were saying move, he's not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that he cannot do it.
Yeah.
When we left Wake Med Hospital to go to a rehabilitation hospital for a while, where because he had a trach,
Okay.
so they had to take the trach out and then work with him to begin to walk and things of that nature. So once they did that, and we come back to Wake Med, which is the original hospital we were in, we ran into that doctor who said
Okay.
3 words.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so grateful that we came into the neuro ICU and ran into that doctor so that we could, and I didn't know that he was going to be there, but God knew that he was going to be there so he could see
Yeah.
what
Who he wrote off.
Yes. And when he saw Kevin, he said, Mr. Thorne, it is so good to see you. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you're doing so well. And he was absolutely right. In his mind, he couldn't believe he was doing so well because he didn't have the faith to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you one thing, those nurses, I've never seen nurses, and I'm not telling anybody's name because I don't want to get anybody into any trouble. But the nurses, they were teary-eyed, they cried, they hugged, and because they said they don't always get to see what happens when they leave their space because they're in the neuro ICU, and sometimes people they don't survive or whatever happens. I wanted to bring Kevin back so he could see all the people that took care of him while he was resting, while he was sleeping, while his eyes were closed and he couldn't see them, but they could see him, and they could, they would talk to him all the time and all this. And I wanted him to be able to see those who took care of him. And it was a great reunion. I didn't get to see all of them because they weren't all there at the same time, but we go back from time to time just to let them know how much we appreciate all because we were there long enough to know every nurse on every shift.
You were there for a while, so yeah, absolutely.
How long were we there?
You were there from November 15th, and the first time we left was January 31st.
So 4 months.
Yeah. And then we went back in the end of February, beginning of March, and you stayed there until May. Yep. You are a miracle man.
You are.
God is a miracle worker. I was just the vessel.
That's true.
Let you tell it. Go ahead, honey.
But I mean, this story is so amazing to me because it makes me think of some of the movies that has come out. I cannot remember the name of the movie, but the woman, I don't know if you guys watched This Is Us, but the woman from This Is Us was in it, and her son, he went to play, he went ice skating or went to play hockey or something on a frozen lake, and he fell in.
Is that Breakthrough or something?
Something like that.
Yes, I know what you're talking about, I think.
And her faith was so strong. And he even died, and she brought him back.
Yes.
Her faith was so strong that she believed and knew, no matter what happened, no matter what the doctors were saying, she knew that her son was going to survive.
Yes.
And he did. Her faith in God. I mean, that movie brought tears to my eyes, but thinking about or listening to your story, I can see the parallel. I can see where great faith, this is a huge amount of faith, y'all. I don't know if y'all realize this. This is a huge amount of faith. And having the faith and trusting that God was going to bring Pastor Kevin through, that is something that not everybody has.
That's true.
Everybody doesn't have that. And to see you guys both sitting here and telling the story about not just your faith and trust in God, but your love for one another. Just hearing that this is love on a different level.
It's a whole nother level, huh? What you think? You think it's love on a whole nother level?
Well, we trusted God, which is really, we could stop the story right there. We trusted God because he can do anything.
He can.
He can do anything. We can't do anything.
Right.
He can do anything. So we were able to put my life in his hands. And I'm grateful I had a wife that could believe with me.
Amen.
And then we could believe that together.
Yes.
Because that's really, it sounds simple, but having a person that can agree with you on something as simple as, healing is so powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
So having somebody that can say, you know what, honey, I'm going to believe God with you, that we're going to come out of this together.
That's right.
I mean, I'm able to do things now. At how old am I now?
You'll be 62 in November.
62. That people that half my age can't do. I can talk. I can sing. I've learned languages, live in different countries. I mean, my goodness. what God has done in my life is an amazing testimony of His goodness, not to
It
me,
is.
but to Him.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to have the faith to believe that He can truly do anything.
Mhm. Yeah, he can do anything. For real. Woo.
That's the kind of God we serve. A God who
It
can do
is.
anything.
You're right.
Yes. Woo.
So, okay, you're home now.
Mhm.
You guys are living life.
Mhm.
Your faith doesn't go back to what it was before the stroke, does it?
No.
Mm-mm. No, not
It
at all.
can't.
It can't. That's why, you know, when people talk about stuff and they say, well, I don't know if that, I'm like, yeah, God can do it.
Yeah.
Our faith level has skyrocketed, you know, where we can trust God for greater things
Mhm.
because we've experienced it. You know, I think when you know when we got married, we said our vows.
Mhm.
We said, "For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part." You know, I think that we have lived out every one of those vows, with the exception of the last one. Not when
Mhm.
we believe that
Mhm.
God's gonna come. We're gonna be right here. You know, um, and we've done those things. But all of that has taken faith. All of that has taken trust in God, believed what God's word says about us, believe what God's word says um, to us to share with other people.
Yeah.
You know, to hear my husband share his testimony, to hear what he shares, it blesses other people. And I know that there's other people that may have endured and had a stroke and may not be able to do some of the things that my husband can do just yet. But
Yes.
seeing him and listening to him can build their faith to believe, well, if God can do it for him, then I believe he can do it for me.
Y si yo puedo hablar español muy bien.
Yes,
Okay,
you do.
now tell him what it means.
I said I'm
You
able to
speak
speak
Spanish
Spanish.
very well. Yes, you do.
And actually, you understood that, right?
I did because I took Spanish all through high school.
All
So
right.
I
All
understood
right.
that. And honestly, Spain has always been one of those places that I wanted to visit. So I would love for you, Pastor Kevin, to talk about Spain if you can.
Oh my goodness, Spain was so beautiful.
Mhm.
The food, I gotta stop there. The food is
I,
amazing. Spanish cuisine is amazing food,
It
right?
is.
yes.
It is.
And the people are very nice. The people that you speak, you get to know, are very, very, very nice. And just the culture is a little slower than
Hmm.
New York or what state are we in now?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yeah, it's a different speed,
Hmm.
but the people there are very, very loving.
Hmm.
Um, I remember the Spanish people there are very. I mean, they're just great people.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Spain in a long time. I can't tell you exactly because I haven't lived there in many years. But the years that I was there
I think
in
Torremolinos,
Torremolinos and
Barcelona. Yeah.
Barcelona, not Barcelona, Torremolinos, sure.
Oh, Madrid.
Madrid,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's where we
Madrid,
were. Mhm.
a couple of places. But those places are just beautiful places. The food's great. I love the food.
Mm.
Spanish food is amazing.
I think we got an opportunity to go back to Spain after he had been there for some years.
Okay.
We went back to the church that your Pastor Dave Demo, not
Demulo, yeah.
Demula. That's his
Yeah,
name.
yeah. I think it was Dave Demulo, right?
No, I think that's not the right name, but it'll come to me. But we went to the church that you were doing missions work with,
Mm-hmm.
and they had the choir and the new pastor. His name was Paul. That's the only I can't remember his name was Paul. Was the new pastor that had taken over, because the original pastor, he lives in Spain for half the year, and he lives in not in Atlanta, but one city in Georgia for the other half of the year.
Oh, really?
Yes, so he should be. I don't know whether he was on this side or the other side, but he spends half the year in one part of the in Spain, and the other part he spends it here in the U.S.
Okay.
But we got an opportunity to visit, and he was showing me some of the things that and the places that he went out doing street ministry. They made jewelry, they built fiberglass homes, all kinds of things while
Wow.
they were out there. Yeah, amazing ministry that he got the opportunity to do while he was there.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that I don't I haven't been to the country in many years now, so I really don't know what life is like there now. But yeah, that was exciting times back then.
Yeah, exciting times.
That's fine that you don't know what it's like now, because I'm just enjoying hearing your experience when you were there. So that's totally fine.
Beautiful part of the world. It's worth going to visit.
Absolutely. Yes. Do you have a passport?
I do.
Okay. You need to go.
I will. I'm gonna tell my husband, let's go.
Yes. 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 How many years have you guys been married?
6.
Oh, yes. It's time to go.
I would definitely throw my vote to go to Spain.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Like Kevin said, the people are wonderful. The landscape is tremendous. Now, different from what is here in the US, all over Europe, and this is all over Europe, they keep their history alive.
Yeah.
We tear down our buildings after they're 50 years old. They keep their buildings alive hundreds of years. So when you go to see history, you really see history. And it is amazing. So anything that you may have studied about Spain, if you could probably find it there. We went not only to Spain, but we went to France, and we went to Italy. And you see all these different monuments and different churches and castles and all that. They are still there, and they work hard to keep them. They refurbish them. They try to keep the history alive that way. And I think that's taking a trip out there, you'll see history in live and in color.
Well, you just named all the places that I want to go. So
The food's amazing too, by the way.
Just in case you were wondering, the man likes to eat, because he has mentioned the food at least.
So when you went, did you bring back any meals that you learned how to cook over there?
Any meal?
Yeah. What did you learn to make over?
Paella.
Thank you.
You make paella?
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Oh. Seafood.
Yes.
Spanish paella with seafood.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
I love paella.
Paella, and when I went, we made bruschetta.
Okay.
And the one thing, I'm telling you, you need to go and bring back their olive oil. Their olive oil, it does not taste like the olive oil here.
Okay.
It is so, excuse me, it is so fresh. It actually has a spicy bite to it
Okay.
that you don't necessarily get when you taste the olive oils here. And we made bruschetta. And I'm sure you know what bruschetta is.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
let me tell you that when they took that garlic clove and rubbed it on the bread and put the oil on there, oh my goodness, we were like, wait a minute, hold up. This is something extra special. And
Right.
because they grow a lot of their fruit and vegetables that they use in their restaurants. So it's not like you're going far away to get your produce. It's right there homegrown. So you're
Mhm.
getting fresh. I mean, the food, that's why the food is so delicious because
Yeah.
it's fresh. You know, um, when we went to Italy, the pastas that we eat here is nothing like the pasta over there. It's so much lighter. It is,
Really?
yes. Oh my goodness. It's amazing. And they make it right there in front of you. They have the machines and they're twirling it and you see the spaghetti just
Coming
sliding
out.
through and it gets in a little pile and they start tossing it and the next thing you do,
Now she's getting excited.
yeah, I know. I know. They toss it and they plop it in the hot water.
Wow.
That's how fresh it is. I mean, it's just really delicious food. So you would definitely enjoy that. But we we've gotten the opportunity to travel pre-stroke, and we've also had opportunities to travel post-stroke. We've gone last was it last year 2021? Yeah, we went to Bahamas
Okay.
and took vacation and certain things it's more of a challenge to do what we need to do, but man, you there's nothing stopping this one right here. He's all for travel,
That's
right?
good.
It's important to know, realize when you see God's creation
Mhm.
and the beautiful things that He has made.
Mhm.
I think there's a scripture that says, you know, when I think of the things that you've made and the works of your hand, what is man that thou art mindful of him?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
And when you see the creation that we've made, man has made in different countries,
Mhm.
you're thinking, oh my goodness, what the creative power that we have as people? It's humbling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm talking about what I can do. I mean, I really what I've done is paled in comparison.
Yeah.
Mm.
But when you go and see the works of that man has made in different places, it's very humbling and it's very ingratiating to see all the different things that the power of man has done. Those that have really open excuse me, open themselves to the creative powers that God has given them.
Mhm.
Mm.
So whether it's music or whether it's food or all these different things,
Building.
buildings,
Mhm.
architecture. I mean, the architecture. Oh my goodness! Whew. If you go to a place like Italy or like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, for instance,
Yeah.
that's a crazy building, but you see that building that's got that little tilt to it.
Mhm.
Amazing.
So you see those different spots, and you say, "Wow, that's man, we did that."
Right.
And we did it because of the ingenuity God gave them.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. It
This
really is.
is.
So travel.
Yes.
So this is your word. Your word is travel.
Yes, it is. You guys are inspiring me. Okay. Will do. I'm gonna travel.
Oh, please do. And
While God, listen, I am I'm here to tell you. We have only so many years where you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do it while you can, and enjoy yourself. See what you can see. Do what you can do. Meet people new. Learn new languages.
Mm-hmm.
Visit the different places around this world. Why not?
Yeah,
I think the scripture
absolutely.
says, God, man has given us is given 70 years to
Mm.
explore, and and you return to the dust.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're here, make your dust do something.
Make your just do something.
I like the way you said that. All right, I'm gonna make my best do something.
Yeah, come on, Dust.
So we are getting very close to the end. Do you guys have any closing words for the audience?
Anything you want to say, babe?
Yeah, God is amazing. His world that He's created for us is amazing. Don't not see it. Go and see what He has made.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. And see it with someone that you love.
See, oh, that's good. That's really good. Brilliance right there. Brilliance.
You see it with someone that you love. I believe that really helps. It does help you to understand more about who each of you are as people, because you'll begin to learn about each other when you're traveling, you're going places. You really become dependent upon each other, especially if
Yeah.
it's a place where you don't speak the language. You know, that really can draw you closer because you're like, okay, it's you and me, bud.
Right.
If you're gonna spend, yo tengo toda la cosa.
Thing.
I got it.
That's right. You sure did. You had it. It was wonderful. But I tell you, just do everything that you can to continue communicating with your spouse. Communicate with those that you love. Uh, when someone comes to mind, send them a text, make a phone call, and tell people that you love them and that you appreciate them, because you never know whether that's the last time you get that opportunity to.
That's the truth.
And take advantage of every moment to express love to someone else. And I think that's vitally important. However, you can do it.
Well said.
That was. That was
Uh,
absolutely.
I love this guy right here. I really do. I love you, man.
You too, babe.
Mm-mm.
You guys, okay. So I'm gonna make this brief, but I really do appreciate you guys coming on and sharing your stories with us. And I just want to say that you have increased my level of faith just from listening to you both talk about your experiences. And I'm so incredibly thankful that you guys were willing to share your story with us tonight. You are getting a lot of thank yous and amens. And my mother said, I love you, Pastor Darlene and Pastor Kevin.
I love
Um,
you. All three. We got to meet her in person. Yes.
absolutely. But I just thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
You are so very welcome.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity and thank you for the invitation. We are very honored to be in your space, Miss Ashley. And
Thank
we are
you.
so thankful that you're doing what God's given you to do. and you're
Yes.
being obedient to it. You're staying the course. And I believe that God will continue to bless you and expand your borders as you're obedient to do what He tells you to do.
Thank
And
you.
don't be sidetracked by what you don't see. Keep your eyes on what God has told you that He has set before you.
Well, that has been my word for the last couple weeks. My guest last week said this pretty much the same thing, and thank you.
I guess God's trying to tell you something.
He is, and I'm listening, Lord. I'm listening.
Amen.
Thank you so
So
much for having us.
I appreciate you guys so much.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
So if you guys would like to be where Pastors Darlene and Pastor Kevin are, go ahead and send me a message. Reach out to me. Oh, there's a song. Someone asked if you were going to sing a song for us.
I think our time is up right after.
Reach out to me, DM me, email me, ashley@itsashleyj.com, and I will set you up with a date and you know the time, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Thursday. And there is only one thing left to say, and that is, what is your love experience? I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.